Hello, and welcome to a help guide on the Clinical Study Database. Today, we're going to be talking about refining your abstract search. So when you sign in to the GOED Clinical Study Database, you'll navigate yourself to the abstract search portion of the database. So let's start with the big general term of interest. We'll start with cardiovascular diseases. Once we search for a term of interest, we generate a list of articles. And as a reminder, the abstract search works by talking with PubMed. So the database will ask PubMed, hey, what articles are related to cardiovascular diseases? The list will come back to our database and get filtered through our criteria. The first criteria being, is it actually about EPA and DHA? So were EPA and DHA a meaningful part of the study? 2, what study type is it? So you can see that we've classified the studies that come back from the search into study types. And the last being, was the article abstract as written by the author positive, negative, or neutral? So we can see it will use interventional studies in this example that 739 interventional studies are related to cardiovascular diseases. This is quite a lot. We might not want to actually read 739 articles. So then we can start to figure out how to further define our search. One way to do that would be going from a broad category like cardiovascular diseases to a more specific category. So one way we can do that is using the database, or we can use MESH, medical subject headings. So medical subject headings is the backbone to the dictionary that lives behind PubMed and behind the clinical study database. So we use the medical subject headings dictionary as the core dictionary, and then we've added thousands of new terms for more recent specific data that have been collected in studies to date. So if we take a look at MESH in the medical subject headings, and I look for cardiovascular diseases, you can scroll down and see the lineage. So this helps us see what other connected terms are related to cardiovascular disease and can give us a sense if we want to keep our search broad or if we want to narrow our search. For example, perhaps we're actually interested in myocardial ischemia, so now we can make our search more specific to that term. Or perhaps we want to look at vascular diseases or any of these specific vascular disease conditions. So one way to refine your search would be to make your search term more specific. Once I look through this search, I might decide that actually cardiovascular diseases is what I want to search for, but I want to refine it so that I don't have to read 739 articles. So the first way to do that would be to add some square brackets to the end of the search term. When you do this, you're telling it to look for only articles that have been tagged with a MESH term for cardiovascular diseases. So this generates now 684 articles. So we've already cut some articles out. So in thinking about this, we might also be curious to see, okay, now that we know it's tagged as a MESH term, what if cardiovascular diseases was written in the title? If I only want to look at articles with cardiovascular diseases in the title. Then we get really specific. We only have 4 interventional studies that link cardiovascular diseases in the title and 2 meta-analyses. In a recent webinar that we did, we looked specifically at cardiovascular disease in men. So this might be a way that we can further refine our search as well if we have a population of interest. So if I go back to our general search term, but now I'm going to add in male. So I want them to say male or men in the title of the article. So now I'm looking for articles about men and cardiovascular disease. So now I went from my 684 studies to 40, which seems like a lot more manageable amount of studies to review. So if I click on our interventional studies, we can see our study list, which allows us to download and further review and define which articles we want to look at. So we hope these tips in the GOED CSD will help you refine your abstract search to make your results more specific to your question of interest. Thanks for joining.